welcome to Grandma's Garden. It's October and the fall is upon us. I'm Evelyn and this is our co-host, Kathy, and we're here to talk about fall gardening. The garden is still going. We still have flowers, as you can see in front of me. We're going to talk about the flowers, what's in bloom as we start each program, which is going to be a little tricky come January, but we'll talk about something else. Anyway, what's in bloom? Sedum. Sedum is at its height right now. It is glorious. This one is kind of an orange-red. I don't know if I put it here, if you can see it a little bit better. Okay. Sedum is very beautiful this time of year, as are mums, who are all tangled up right here. So I have some rust and some yellow mums, if I don't tear them apart. There, some rust and some yellow mums. This is the time of year when every store is selling mums. Kathy, tell them about the mums.
Okay, I have different ones in my garden than Evelyn has. And I've got pink ones, more pink. These are pink ones with a yellow eye. Regular pink ones have some of those dark rust ones. I like these orange ones. And also I brought along today, because they're so beautiful, the cosmos, just absolutely stunning, and they're all over. And all of a sudden I have a whole bunch of nasturtiums. These are also edible.
Yes, yes.
They did a flowering earlier and have now come back with a second flowering. And then the coreopsis, all of a sudden, these yellow babies have come on again. So my garden, actually, I'm ready. Oh, asters. Evelyn forgot to tell me to do the. These little purple asters look so nice. They're such a great filler in a bouquet. Yeah. Mine are almost done. And Ev, you said you didn't have any, or yours were all done already?
I can't grow them. They don't like my soil. I plant them and they go boop.
Well, that's one of the things that we learn by doing. If it doesn't like your soil, give it up. Just don't struggle with it.
I've tried to plant them in front, and maybe I'll move them over to one of the sides and see what happens. I am holding, I don't know how well you can see it, this only blooms in the fall. This is Joe Pye weed, or boneset. In ancient times, they felt that if they boiled the roots to this plant, it would help set broken bones. I don't think that happened, but it doesn't matter. They knew a lot about plants in the olden days. But it has a beautiful just little tiny flowers. You know me, my boppy flowers. I like little tiny flowers. Lovely in a bouquet. This will grow, comes back every year, perennial, and it will grow about 4 foot tall after you've had it a few years. But it looks really pretty. Doesn't that add pretty to that? Flowers.
Think it forward to next year.
Yes, yes, yes. As I said, it is a perennial, and we will, I think you might like it. It goes in the very back of the garden because it's so tall. Now, Kathy mentioned thinking of next year. As a gardener, we plan ahead. I am already thinking about what I want to buy for next year. I have a list of the plants that I want to spend my money on. I'm not too sure how I'm going to shove them in that garden, but I'll do my best. But to anybody that's thinking about putting in a garden, quite frankly, there's nothing I hate more than busting sod, and that's the grass. You've thought this area, now you've looked at it, you know the sun, how much sun it's going to get, because that's important to what you plant, and or shade. You need to know how that's going to go. So next spring you're thinking of putting in a garden then, in that spot. Well, let me give you a heads up. This year, go out and get some cardboard boxes.
Big ones.
Big ones, yes, big ones. And lay the cardboard boxes down over where you want your garden to be for next spring. What that is going to do for you is that is going to kill the grass and kill the roots, so that when you go to dig it up next spring, it is a fourth of the job that it would have been, and it would be easier to grab a clump, shake the dirt out, and get rid of it. And there you can start with your garden. We don't talk a lot about rototilling gardens because it only tills down, well, depending on your blade, but it only goes
6 inches maybe.
6 inches. And your plant roots will go down 2 feet, some of them much more than that. So rototilling the soil doesn't do you any good. Waste of money. I'm just the one saying that, not the person at the store trying to sell you one. Make up your own mind. But we dig them up. We dig up the gardens, break up the soil, add, oh yes, and you can say about soil testing. What do you think about soil testing? Do you think it's a good idea?
I think soil testing is a good idea. You can get a soil test kit from your county extension service, probably. Oh, I didn't come prepared with that address.
I threw that at her.
It's a really good idea, just in case the place you're putting a new garden isn't whether the pH, that's the level of acidity, is very high or very low. Sometimes there isn't much nitrogen in the soil, in which case you're going to want to add some compost, maybe even some fertilizer. So soil test is a good idea. It's even a good idea if you are not having very good luck with where your garden is. Say you've got a vegetable garden and it's just not happening. Good idea to get a soil test. I had at one time some pepper bushes that were 5 feet tall. No peppers, just lots of bush. And I had the soil tested and went to a place and they mixed me up some custom fertilizer, and next year the garden was fabulous. So it's not too expensive. I'm thinking it's less than $10.
That's worth it. I think it's worth it. We have gotten a couple of questions. Nancy asked, when would she know that her rhubarb is ready to be harvested? It's ready to be harvested when it's 12 to 18 inches tall. And it has about a 8 to 10 week cycle of when you can harvest it. You stop harvesting when the stalks get real thin, then you just leave it be. That being said, backing up a little further, if you're going to plant rhubarb, and why wouldn't you? The crowns that you plant this spring, don't harvest them. Let them be. Give them a whole entire year to sit there and get their roots into the ground, to settle in and plan, as all gardeners do. We plan years ahead. You'd be surprised how fast the years go. But anyway, so you wait till the second year before you start cutting it. Now, one of the places I was at recently asked me a question, said that they had grubs.
Japanese beetles?
Not Japanese beetles, although Japanese beetles, you can use a spray bottle with kitchen soap and water, not too heavy, and not on top of the leaves too much because you clog the pores and the plant can't get through.
You're thinking of slugs?
Slugs, thank you. You know which vermin I was trying to get to. Slugs, I have a simple solution. Eggshells. Start saving your eggshells. Whatever eggs you eat, wash it out, rinse out the membrane, set it on the counter, let it dry, start throwing them in a plastic bag. Takes a lot of eggshells to cover a garden, but it's got the calcium that your garden uses, and it's got those nice sharp edges that the slugs don't like. I never have any slugs in my garden, and I'm putting eggshells out every year. It takes a long time to collect enough eggshells to cover everything. So some years I start at one end with eggshells, and then I have to next year start at the other end and hope I meet in the middle. But anyway, just to let you know, you can ask us questions. We will answer them to you online and on the program. We are at Grandma's Garden, Orion, ONTV. At Orion, ONTV, thank you, at orionontv.org. That takes care of that. We did our asters. Sitting behind me is a euonymus. Okay, burning bush. It's beautiful. Doesn't have to be pruned, although you can if you want to. It is hardy to zone 4, and we're zone 5. And that's another thing you'll learn is what zones we are. We're zone 5. And sometimes
they say 6, but
yeah.
I'm not spending big bucks for anything in a zone 6.
No, because I agree. The cold may come and just kill it. It's a deciduous shrub, loses its leaves, and surprisingly, it's invasive in the east.
Burning bush?
Burning bush is invasive in the east. We were just talking the other day.
Talking about the butterfly.
The Budalia. That's invasive. What have they got going in the east that
I think it's probably not as
cold.
Not as cold. The winters are not as severe there.
The branches, and I found this so interesting, the branches on a burning bush, the tips of the branches, used to be used for spindles because of their crooked end, and it's called the spindle tree, the winged spindle tree. I'm just full of all these unnecessary pieces of knowledge. Anyway, I think that covers what we want to talk. Oh, the mums. We did want to advise you, if you decide to plant mums, Kathy, go.
Okay, they are not reliably hardy. They say garden mums, and you get this big pot full of mums, and you think, oh, good, I'm going to have this going to come up next year. It may come up, it may not. If you want mums in your garden as perennials, you need to buy them either in the spring or midsummer when they first appear. Now, the Meyer up in Oxford had them probably early August.
That would have been a good time.
That's the time to plant them. I got a bunch of them last year and planted them. Now, if you do this, if you're planting them to have them be a perennial, you want to cut all the flowers off. Now, I know that hurts, you know, that really hurts. But you do want to cut the flowers off, and that makes your energies go into the roots and gives you a good one for next year. The ones that are grown for bloom are really just for show.
Yeah, they just pot them, lay them, stick them around the house and expect them, you know, they'll die when the frost comes. Not looking forward. I still have roses that are blooming. A whole new blush of roses has come out. I have quite a bit of flowers still in my garden. It still looks nice. I'm very happy with it.
Now we better get on to the apples or we're going to run out of time.
Yeah, let's do apples. Okay, apples. I checked, and we have 6 of the most common apples. We're not going to have time. Red Delicious, Gala, Red Delicious, Gala, Golden Delicious.
No, I don't have one of those.
Okay.
This one's
Granny Smith.
That's a ginger gold.
Ginger gold, okay. Fuji, which I did find out actually comes from Japan. You learn the strangest things. And Macintosh. We use Macintosh and Gala to make our applesauce. Makes wonderful applesauce. There is an apple, also Bramley apples, that are just the red and green. They're really good for pie baking. The red Gravestine and yellow Gravestines are good for pie baking. I see where I wanted to get here. Some of these apples are too mushy. I'm getting carried away with talking about apples, so I have to get back to the fact that you need to learn your apples. They're extremely good for you. I did learn that the apples originally came from a country east of the Ukraine over by Mongolia. That's where they've originated. Kakistan? Some one of those stands. So it's not
native to America.
Not native to America by any stretch of the means, nor is the burning bush. That doesn't come from here either.
Wanted to say about the apples.
Yes.
If you're going to be really into making applesauce, like you're going to buy 20 pounds or more, buy one and eat it. Make sure you got a good tasting apple, because the flavor of the applesauce comes from the apples. There's very little in the applesauce that you make. Just maybe a little bit of cinnamon, and if the apples are kind of tart, a little bit of sugar.
Okay, we're going to take a break now. I do want to get in our email address, grandmasgarden@oriontv.org, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
The Orion Lighted Parade is a tradition that ushers in the holiday season here in the Orion area. Families line the streets in the village to enjoy this festive event, but it wouldn't be possible without the Holly Jolly Folly. This year's fundraiser is scheduled to take place on Friday, December 5th at Golling Buick GMC, located at 1491 South Lapeer Road. Enjoy live entertainment, a silent auction, a cash bar, and a 50-50 raffle. Food will be provided by Italia Gardens. Tickets are $35 per person and are available at Golling Buick GMC. For more information, call the Orion Area Parade Group at 248-802-5521 or visit orionlightedparade.org.
Hi, and welcome back to Grandma's Garden. I'm Evelyn, and co-host is Kathy. We are here this time to talk about bulbs, spring flowers. Take it away, Kathy.
Okay, if you will put up the first picture. We have some pictures and some actual bulbs to show you.
Okay.
What you're seeing on your screen is called Chinodoxia, or glory of the snow. This is a little bulb, and I love to plant these in my lawn. Maybe get 50 of them and plant them all over throughout the grass, and they get planted about 2 or 3 inches deep, 3 to 4 inches apart.
Yeah, and then they'll come up in the spring when your grass first comes up.
Yeah, they come up before you're ready to mow.
So pretty,
And
so pretty.
Just really, really nice. The next one we're going to do, I'm going to show you the bulb first, this is a crocus bulb.
Yeah, he's on the picture.
Oh, okay. These are what are called snow crocus, and they're a little smaller than the big crocus that we're going to show you next. These are also suitable for planting in the grass.
Okay.
And Georgia, if you can have the camera, we'll show the bulb here. So
Put
they
it
can
up against my shirt so they can
Okay. It's a little bulb, not quite as big as a nickel. There's a little bunch of nubby stuff on the bottom of it. That side, that goes down. That's the one thing with the bulbs, is getting the right side down. And we'll go on to the next crocus, the purple crocus.
It's all right, just let him, okay, there he is. We'll cut
Okay,
this out.
those are just absolutely lovely. I don't have one of those bulbs because I've got millions of those in my yard. They multiply. You can actually dig them up and spread them around. The bigger crocus are not suitable for planting in the grass because you're gonna be almost ready for your first mow when they come up. Okay, let's move on to the hyacinths. I don't have a hyacinth bulb to show you, but these are absolutely beautiful, and they smell just wonderful, wonderful. They're one of the ones that the deer and rabbits don't particularly care for.
Good.
And
I plant them under my windows
so you can
that
smell
in the
them.
spring when I open my windows,
you
that's
can
what
smell
comes
the
wafting
hyacinths.
in. Yes.
One of the things you can do with the hyacinths, if you buy a pot of them, say you're in the grocery store and there they are and they smell so good and they're absolutely beautiful. After they're done blooming, cut the flower stalk off, let the leaves stay green and grow, and when you get out to working, and you want to give them just enough water so that they stay. I have probably 3 dozen crocus or hyacinths all over in my gardens because I plant those bulbs. The next year they're not going to be quite as nice as they were because they were pushed to bloom ahead of schedule. But hyacinths are an extremely long-lived bulb. Just totally love those. Let's move on to the species tulips.
The next picture, please.
Those are a little tulip. They don't get very tall. And they open almost flat. We think of that traditional tulip shape. These guys kind of open out flat into a star, and they've always got some contrasting color in the center. They only get to be about 6 inches tall, but there's lots of flowers come from a single bulb. And if we can move on to the next picture, the tulips and daffodils.
Yeah, isn't that pretty? Doesn't that make you think of spring? Of course, we have to get through winter first, but spring will come.
One of the things I want to mention about tulips, except for the Darwin tulips or tulips that are specifically in your catalog mentioned as perennial tulips, tulips are not a whole lot of bang for the buck. You get, unfortunately, there they are, the really fancy ones. They're good this year, and the next year they're sort of okay, and after that they just kind of fade away.
You never see them again.
Never see them, or you see them and they're very insignificant. This is the tulip bulb. It's got kind of a point. You want to plant them point side up. Tulips need to be down 6 to 8 inches. The daffodil is one of the biggest bulbs, and it's normally going to have this hairy stuff, which is last year's roots, so you don't have too much trouble identifying which way to go with the daffodils. Daffodils are deer resistant, one of the few bulbs that the deer have no interest in at all. And they multiply. Daffodils get better and better every year. I have some that I planted in 1990 that are still absolutely lovely. And we'll go on to the bouquet tulips, the next picture. These are tulips. Most tulips send up.
Pretty.
Most tulips send up a single flower, one tulip on a stalk. The bouquet tulips send up anywhere from 3 to 6 stalks with flowers. Toronto is one of my all-time favorite varieties. Comes in sort of a pinky color, that one you're seeing there.
That is lovely.
And they've recently come out with some orange ones, so I'm going to combine the orange ones and with some purple tulips, and those should be really good. You can get bulbs just about anywhere now. You see them, even I saw them in Kroger the other day. When we decided we were going to do this, I ordered some bulbs. And last week I called Evan, I said, can we push the filming out a week? I haven't got my bulbs. Well, my daughter suggested that I contact them and cancel the bulbs if they weren't going to get here in time for the show. I have lots of bulbs in my yard. So I emailed them. They FedExed me the bulbs the next morning, and they were on my porch yesterday. They also have this lovely little guide that tells you all about, gives you all, fumble fingers here, each one and how deep to plant it, how far to plant it apart. I couldn't say enough about the customer service of that company.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
And all the directions.
And let's talk about the
It's still
tulip.
not too late
No,
to put bulbs in.
No, it's not even too late to order bulbs.
No.
I have been out there in November, bundled up with mittens and long johns.
Never.
Oh yeah, that's the year Evelyn's going to show you this incredible tool here. That's a bulb
That's my
planter.
workout.
What do you say it weighs? Probably 8-9 pounds, Evelyn?
Yes,
It's pretty
at
heavy.
least. It's pretty heavy. But boy,
But-
is this thing going to do a job.
You hold it, put the forked end in the ground, step on it, rock it back and forth, and you've got a nice hole. All you have to do is drop the bulb in, pull the tool out, and cover it up.
That's pretty cool. This is very substantial. This would be, I think, an aid to anybody's garden.
However, this is not an inexpensive tool.
Right.
If you're only going to plant a couple dozen bulbs, I think I paid $50 for that
Wow.
a number of years ago, made in Canada.
Sorry.
You want to show them your bulb planters? These are more traditional.
And what these do have, you can just see it, the inches to tell you how deep you're going. And when you get this into the ground, of course, it fills up inside the hole. But you want to make sure you get down as many inches as it says. And it's a little workout. Definitely you're going to be on your knees using your upper body strength to rock this thing back and forth to get it out. Pull the dirt out. I knock it out this end because it's bigger, put my bulb in, and then replace the earth, pat it down, and look forward to spring to have my bulbs.
If you haven't had a rain,
Yes.
it's a good idea to water before you plant bulbs. Easier to dig in the moist soil. And if you don't want to bother with something like that, any good trowel will work for planting bulbs. A narrower one is a little bit better. I think most trowels these days have inch marks.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And this one also came from the same manufacturer that made the heavy-duty step-on thing. So it has centimeters as well as inches. One thing you might just happen to have in your tool shed or garage is an edger, that half-moon thing
yeah.
that you go along, and that works all right for planting the little guys. I have used that before I got the big red.
How deep do the little guys have to go?
Little guys only go 2 to 3 inches. You get
Okay.
them too deep and they will not, particularly if you put them in the grass. All you need to do when you plant in the grass is kind of make a cut so that you get below the sod.
Okay.
Drop the bulb in and push it back
Okay.
and step on it.
Okay.
Good. In the spring, after your bulbs have flowered, you want to be sure and leave the foliage. Now, sometimes this gets in the way and it gets kind of annoying and you think, oh, I want to cut that stuff off of there.
Don't ever do that. Go
No,
ahead.
yeah,
Don't ever do
that's-
that.
What it does is that foliage is what feeds your bulb below the surface. Now, sometimes daffodils and lilies and other things will get a seed pod. That you do want to cut off because you want the energy to go into the bulb. The bulb is what's going to give you your flowers for next year.
Right.
That really beauty in your garden. Tulips, some of my favorite tulip varieties are the Torontos. An absolutely gorgeous peony-flowered tulip is Angelique. It's a pale pink, and it really looks like a peony. Little on the taller side. Really nice. Do you have any favorite bulbs in your garden? Or you?
Not particularly. I had some beautiful, I think they were called dish tulips. They had a big, big opening. They were just gorgeous. And the last time they bloomed, we got 5 inches of snow the day after they bloomed. And I think the squirrels dug them up because they weren't there the following year. So I just not happy with that. But there's
One
nothing
word
I can do
about the
it.
squirrels. If you have a lot of trouble with rodents digging up your bulbs,
Yes.
you can take some chicken wire.
Oh, yes.
The mesh on the chicken, the holes on the chicken wire are big enough that the plants can come up through it.
Okay.
And this is more if you're planting a bed of bulbs. Get all your bulbs planted, lay the chicken wire on, and cover it with soil. And then when those little buggers get out there looking for a nosh,
Yeah.
they hit the wire and go on their way.
Well, we've run out of time again.
How did it go so fast?
I don't know. I don't know. Just we enjoy talking about it so much. I'm Evelyn, and this
I'm
is
Kathy.
Kathy, and we're our Grandma's Garden, and you can email us your questions at grandmasgarden@Orion, ONTV. We will be starting up again in January. We'll have a January show, and we're going to start from the beginning. We'll go through planting a garden, container gardens. We'll go through various plants, perennials and annuals. So we'll
And
be
vegetables,
and
vegetables.
and vegetables. I don't grow them, so I forget about them. And vegetables. So thank you. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you back again in January.